Good day to you, partner. I'm Eve, and I can already tell that I'll be your best friend in this forsaken world.
The one and only Albert Collins. Albert Collins and the Icebreakers.
Hey guys, Wheat Solo here, aka the Skeleton King. I'm going to be a lot busier recently, or I'm going to be a lot busier as of now, and it started recently. I'm still going to try and make videos. I do want to make the Revive one this weekend. It should be very quick. But I don't know if I'll be able to play Season 4. I'll see what it lines up with my schedule. But hopefully I can make some cool videos that you guys will like. Because I love talking Necromancer. As you guys know, I can blabble on about Necromancer for literally hours and say I'm not even done. So this is the first kill that Top Nub did against Dclone. We basically did it with his fire setup. Now, we were running max fire golem at the time because we are stupid. No, okay, so he's doing Desecrate, but he used his fire gear, and by that what I mean is he was using Hexfire and Phoenix, not the more common just Phoenix CTA, things like that. There's something I want to talk about with Redemption and Phoenix. So these numbers on the screen are actually more important than you think. I'm going to put up a few things for quite some time so you guys can actually look at this and understand what these abilities do and why they're used. Also, I didn't realize why Redemption sucked until now. It's because it used to not scale. It just did 5 health flat. But now, you can possibly get over 30 health per corpse. And that's a big deal, because you're probably going to get about a 70% chance to redeem it, and, you know, Desecrate spawns 6 corpses each, so that's a lot of health. That's probably why it was never used, and that's probably why I think it's going to get nerfed. You know, they have 2 options now as of this point with Phoenix. And again, you can do the fight without it as a Necromancer, but if you're doing the fight without Phoenix as a Necromancer, why aren't you just doing it as a Sorceress? That's kind of another counterpoint to not nerfing Phoenix Desecrate too much, because we're still not even close to being one of the best classes to do it. But we are a legitimate option, and that's cool. It kind of reminds me of Season 1, when Fire Golems were legitimate options against Dclone. Very, very solid. In fact, by far the best Necromancer to do it. Maybe you could say Desecrate, but Fire Golems are probably a bit safer. So now we got the Call to Arms buff, and this is another thing I want you all to understand, is that Call to Arms is really, really, really good. So as I said, this was our first attempt at it, and we were trying to do basically just with the gear we already had. And so Hexfire Phoenix is actually pretty cool, because you can swap back and forth, and it is useful. In fact, I think at this point, with the gear we have now, I think you might as well just do Hexfire CTA and skip the Phoenix. And that's kind of what I was talking about. Like, I don't think you need to nerf Phoenix, because I honestly think that once Necromancers get the right gear, I think you can do the fight without Phoenix, and you'll do it fast enough and smooth enough that you don't need it. Again, why wouldn't you just use it just to make it safe? Yeah, exactly. But if we're going to do a Hexfire fight, I think we should do Hexfire CTA. Because Hexfire is actually pretty strong. Hexfire busts your Fire Golems, busts all of that, but you do want the CTA, and I think a CTA would overall benefit you more, because basically you're getting another 200 health, like at least. Like, you look at that table, you get a few plus skills, well, that's not bad. So by the way, let's see how he handles this. That actually wasn't bad. Oh, he's hitting a Bale Wave. By the way, that's actually... learning how to dodge that Cold Nova is harder than you think. There's all these little spots around the screen that make it really challenging to be where you should be, not where you shouldn't be. And trust me, I've done this fight, and it, especially with Bone Spirit patches, whether they're desynced or not, it can basically be you just have to get hit. So what is these numbers on the screen? You guys are all like, there's these numbers on the screen, I have no idea what they mean. These are basically comparing 1 hardpoint clay golems with 1 hardpoint fire golems, and why you should run fire golems, even not counting fire mastery. You could run clay golems if you weren't running trains, but you should probably run fire golems anyways, because fire golems are a bit tankier. 2, they have quite a bit more attack rating, which is just the dumbest thing in the world. Trust me, I don't like that. In the end, clay golems do okay with their inherent attack rating benefits, but fire golems have a higher % chance to hit Dclone. It's about 50% considering block, and clay golems are closer to 45%. That does make a difference. But fire golems do way more single target, so the numbers on the screen are just so hard to understand. Just know this: your fire golems are basically doing almost 2k DPS, and that's more than clay golems, quite a bit more than clay golems single target. Also, they do have the Holy Fire, which adds 400 AoE, and that adds up. Now, again, I'm including that in their single target DPS. But that, at 400 every couple of seconds against the skeletons, why not? It probably does a little bit to them. It's just the skeletons kind of just smash everything. And that's probably the hardest part of the fight, which is why I don't think you need Phoenix. Of course, there's those situations in the corner where you can just basically spam Desecrate with Phoenix, and you can actually face tank a Bone Spirit patch with Phoenix Desecrate. It can be dicey. There are problems with Phoenix and Desecrate. And the problem is, if you cast Desecrate too much, it can basically increase the chance there's invisible stuff. It's kind of annoying because this fight will have invisible stuff even if you don't do anything. But basically, just think of it this way: when you Desecrate, there's a higher chance things will be invisible, basically. And it can get so bad that, honestly, the minions on the screen can turn invisible. It's just something in Diablo 2. It's a game that was made 20 years ago. There's probably not an easy fix for it, and if there was a fix for it, it would probably take a team larger than PD2. Wow, did you see how much invisible Bone Spirits were up there? Again, that'll happen whether or not you're running Desecrate. It just is this game. The last little screen I showed was that Fire Mastery thing, and Fire Mastery is really, really nice. Now again, I was saying I don't think Full Trains is the best setup, but if you're gonna be playing Corpse Explosion or focusing on Firewall, then of course it is. And Hexfire actually is a really, really good weapon. I think the best would honestly just to be Poison. Wow, he almost died there. I think that might have been an invisible Bone Spirit. I couldn't tell. It was covered by fire. But, that's this fight, man. It sucks. And you can't keep track of it all. And for one, invisible Bone Spirit patches can come from invisible Bone Spirits, so you literally have no way to know it's there. It's not easy. Why is he taking damage? I think it was a meteor. By the way, meteors are half physical, half fire. Just in case you did not know that, they do a lot of physical damage. That's why PDR is important. You don't need a lot, but you need at least 25%. And even that's a little low. And I was kind of mentioning the reason why the Lightning Storm isn't important is because they're going to run PDR anyways to deal with meteors. And as long as you have some PDR, you don't need to worry about, ooh. I think he lucked out on the timing of his forward juice there, because I think he would have died if he hadn't have double potted. I don't know. I'd have to watch that again. I'm surprised he didn't get double hit. Wow. Anyways, so one of the cool things about watching this video as opposed to one of the later ones is this was a suboptimal setup. He doesn't even have max res. You can go back to the beginning of video and see exactly the gear he was using and exactly the skills he was using. And he did not have 95 fire res. He did not have 95 cold res. He was using Raven Frost and this and that, not +1 skill Nokos. He basically was using very good gear for his Corpse Explosion Necro, and then he budget replaced it to do this fight. And to call it far from optimal it's like an understatement. He didn't practice it much offline, and I think he did a pretty good job. It took me 5 times, I think, to kill this guy my first time Season 1. Although there was a disconnect and I did save and quit, but like that's part of the game, and I still died 3 other times because I'm an idiot. So, don't get discouraged, and know that I honestly think Necromancers are actually pretty good for the fight. Now, I wouldn't even put them, maybe they're top 5, but that would be as high as I'd put them. So going back to Redemption real quickly, sorry, there's just so many things to talk about with this fight that I might even make a 3rd video. Oh, by the way, kill the skeleton archers first. It's just really simple, and basically do it like this. You keep running around, because it's kind of hard. Oh my god, how is he not dead? Oh my god, Top Plug. That was lucky. You know how he was getting unlucky at points? When like he was running through like 2 patches of invisible bonefire? That was lucky he didn't die. So there you go. You get unlucky and you get lucky. That's how this game works. Wow, he's so close to dying all the time right now. Okay. Anyways, the skeleton archers are the worst part, not the mages. The mages are just annoying, right? And you basically do it like this. You keep running around, and they will group up a little more. There's also a strategy you can do where you teleport behind one of the pillars and kind of wait there for a bit and kind of let them pull up on their own. The problem is with the archers, the bone spirits, and the meteors, that strategy might be available to you and it might not be. Now, Top Nub was still very nervous doing the fight at this point. Oh, there's the corpse explosion killing the packs. Yeah, I think it's actually pretty good. See, that's why I think there is a corpse explosion build that would be competitive. Wow, he almost died again. That was Invisible Bone Spirit. Like, you can see one, but I think there was another one because he was standing off of it. But maybe he was just like hitting it. The graphics in this game are not that accurate, so it's pixel art. Never trust pixel art hitboxes and animations, and trust me, it's something you learn when you're a kid. So I actually think Corpse Explosion, there is a way to make it competitive with Desecrate. I don't think it would beat it, but I think it would be cool to do it. Just to run like Hexfire CTA with a little bit better gear, and like you safe setup, stuff like that, and then just smash them. Because you could build it a little bit better, run lore resist, things like that. And for the single target, you'd probably actually want to cast Firewall. As much as I hate that skill, for single target, it is better than Corpse Explosion. And then you'd have the Corpse Explosion for the ads. There is one more thing I wanted to talk about, and I keep not talking about it. How Redemption works. It's every 2 seconds, it will proc. Now, I don't think it's on a global timer, because it appears to take 2 seconds when you put it on. But don't quote me on that. It's possible there's a global timer. I don't think there is. There are global timers in this game, but I'm pretty sure it works like other auras, where it activates when you start it. Because that's how fire golems work, holy fire, things like that. So 2 seconds after swap, you will absorb corpses around you. It's a 10-yard radius. Think of it this way, Desecrate's an 8-yard radius, and that's almost nothing. 10 yards is just a little more than nothing. 8 yards is the radius of fire golems. 8 yards is almost the splash range of clay golems, which is like a splash range of 4. If you play melee, you might know how big that is. It's not that big. 8 yards, and then 10 yards is not much bigger than that. Corpse Explosion is 16 yards or 14.6 yards, one of those two, and that's much, much bigger. It's just the way radiuses work, because, when you get into squared, things get big fast. That's what she said. So you can cast Desecrate away from you and not absorb the corpses, which is why Corpse Explosion works, or you could cast them near you and absorb them, every 2 seconds. You have that 70-80% chance to get that health back. My last thought is this. If they're thinking about nerfing Phoenix Desecrate in some way, try and just nerf it to +1 health per skill level. I don't know if that affects the viability for another class using it. I don't think anybody does use it. I don't think anybody ever would. But if there's more complicated issues than just Necromancers, then sure. But I think nerfing it to +1 health per aura level would make it more balanced, and it would go from being like a very nice safe option for Necros to a less nice safe option. Like, it would be much less safe and nice. You would still think about using it, for sure, but it wouldn't be that, why use a better gear setup when I can kill him 2 minutes slower, 3 minutes slower, 4 minutes slower, and, not worry nearly as much. Alright guys, Skelly King out. Oh, by the way, the music, this is Albert Collins. He's one of the best guitar players of all time. He's not my favorite. My favorites are Freddie King, Mike Bloomfield, but he's a bad man, and he doesn't get enough love. Alright, Skelly King out. GG.
Turn the mic to blood. Ah, can we get it down, baby? Keep on snatching it back. Oh, you just keep on doing it to me, baby. How can I get it now? Keep on snatching it back. I don't know what the problem is. Got a big problem. How can I get it now, baby? Keep on snatching it back. How can we get it now, baby? Keep on snatching it back.